Man, do I love Bloodborne, but it feels like it's been out forever now. I mean, my dad played it, his dad before him played it, his dad before him. Or actually, no, he was more of a first-person shooter guy, but that's besides the point. The point is that it's old, and I've played it so many times. I've done every type of build. I've platinumed it, for God's sake. But one thing I've never done is try and beat the game with just a torch, because I'd like to think I've got more sense than that, but clearly not, because here we are. So this is going to be obviously really hard, but that's sort of the point, innit? It can't be a challenge run if it's not challenging. And for anyone that doesn't know just how bad the torch is, you'll see. I'm not going to do a big drawn out explanation now. Trust me, you'll see. It must be said though that I will not be using the basic torch the whole game. I will upgrade to the hunter's torch as soon as I possibly can, because as you'll see, the basic torch is basically useless. And don't get me wrong, I do hate myself, hence why I did this challenge run, but I don't hate myself enough to put myself through that. Another thing is, I will be using things like molotovs, oil urns, throwing knives, but I won't use any spells and I won't use any other weapons. Okay, so here we go. I started out with the Cruel Fate Origin because of the Arcane, but to be honest, the Arcane doesn't come into play until you get the Hunter's Torch, so I suppose any of them would have been viable because your build's going to suck regardless. Oh yeah, and I was going to call my guy Johnny Blaze after, you know, the Human Torch, would be a pretty fitting name, but in the moment I kind of forgot what his name was, so I ended up with this. Johnny Torchman. That's probably close enough, right? There's Johnny something. Which honestly I think that's an improvement. So Marvel, hit me up, pay me about 10 grand let's say, and I'll let you use that name. It's definitely better than Johnny Blaze. Right, it's Johnny Torchman. Okay, now obviously the first order of business is to get the torch, because I can't be Johnny Torchman if I haven't got a torch, can I? But on the way I'll pick up every Molotov I see because they're going to be crucial for the first boss fight. Lovely. Nice. Thankfully the basic torch is very easy to come across, it's not very far from the starting point, but that is the only good thing about it because it sucks. It's like the game doesn't know it's on fire and you're just stabbing someone with a blunt piece of wood. Honestly I think it'd be more annoying than painful to get hit by it. Ah, oh no. Ah. Another handy thing to pick up is some oil urns. Definitely a fire starter's best friend, but more on those later. And then I find someone who out of the kindness of his own heart taught me a few pointers about how to use a torch. Ah, I see what you mean. That's what the plan is. Something like that. Well, that's a good move, I'll try it. I can only thrust. I'm not at your level yet. My torch sensei. What a nice guy. I mean, he didn't even charge me for it. Well, he did try and kill me afterwards, but I think that was just like a misunderstanding. After getting the torch and having a few training sessions, I then employ my genius tactic of sprinting past everybody and picking up all the items I can see. Something I will use a lot in this playthrough. And look at what I picked up. Yeah, I got the hunter set. We dripborn now, baby. Let's go. And this is my favourite armor in the game because I mean, look at it. Come on. Now that that's equipped, I'm looking fly and I'm ready to fry. But before I try frying Father Gascoigne, I'm going to need an incredibly important item. It's me, Johnny Torchman, you know, from the Fantastic Four. So after visiting yet another Johnny Torchman fan, I got a gift. And that gift, as you saw, was the tiny music box, which is exactly what I need to beat Gascoigne. Because I could either hit him 400,000 times with the torch, or I could beat him with the power of emotional manipulation. Here we go. I'm not full health, so that's, you know, off to a great start. I've seen this enough times. Let's heal. Oh my god. Jesus Christ, that scared the shit out of me. Oh! You know what? The Gascoigne fight was actually surprisingly easy. I'm joking. It was very hard. I feel like I did pretty good though. I had him on the ropes. But as long as Johnny Torchman's torch is still burning, he will never give up. Before I do that again though, I'm gonna grind a little bit so I can have some more health and stamina. However, when you're trying to grind with the basic torch, this is really the only way to do it. I'm sorry, it's the only way. I know it's not fair, you're locked up, but I need to get stronger somehow. Okay, here we go, this is the one this time. I did enough grinding where I feel comfortable enough where I won't die in like 1 or 2 hits. For some reason I go into this fight with only 15 blood vials instead of 20. I think I was just desperate. I wasn't confident, I was very desperate to get this done. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice is how small the amount of damage this does. It does 8 damage per hit, and Gascoigne has 2031 HP, so in order to get him to the 1/3 HP threshold to get him to transform, I would have to hit him 170 times. Which is why the tiny music box is so helpful here. As you know, if you use it enough times, he will just transform, it doesn't matter how much you hurt him. But you might be asking, why do you want him to transform anyway? He gets more aggressive, he does more damage. The thing is, and the most important thing here is, his fire resistance goes from 65 as a human to 50 in beast form. Now I don't know exactly what that means in terms of the maths and the calculations. All I know is more damage is good for me, bad for him. Especially because now it's Molotov time. No! Get up! No, I'm cornered. Oh, don't kick me, come on bruh. I love being cornered in games, that's always fun. Oh, he dodged it! I'm not supposed to dodge it. Why do I feel like he's not taking as much damage now? Oh, there we go. Hey, with one to spare. And so that's how you beat Gascoigne. You force him to turn into a big dog, and then you play fiery fetch with a big fella. And I know some people might say, how can you call it a torch only run if you're not only using a torch? But come on man, a Molotov is basically a torch but in like bottle form you can throw. Same, right? Now that Gascoigne's dealt with, I head back to the Hunter's Dream and upgrade my Arcane, because I'm about to get the Hunter's Torch. Things are looking up. Welcome to Cathedral Ward, one of my favourite areas in the entire game. However, sadly, it's not the area where the Hunter's Torch is, that's in Aldianum, so I make sure to sprint past everybody and get to where I need to be. Ah, Aldianum. I hate this fucking place. Yeah, I'm just here to get the torch, mate. I will when I get the torch. And a torch, which I'll get and then leave. And this thing too. Okay, so after you ignore the warnings of the old man and kill this little thing for the bloodstone shards, the torch is actually pretty close. All I have to do is drop down here, go around the corner, and it's just tucked away waiting to be discovered. And now it's time to do some real damage. Now the run really begins. Yay! Da 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 da! And I'm probably gonna die to these things, but whatever, I got what I wanted. Oh yeah. That's a difference of 31 damage. But with the power of scaling, it could be much more. Unfortunately for past me, I didn't know back then how bad the scaling was going to be, also how little the improvement was when you upgrade it with the Bloodstone. I'm still in for a challenge, don't you worry. At this point I was feeling pretty damn confident, so I wanted to try and test myself and fight the Cleric Beast. But for the sake of brevity and the fact that this was actually really easy, I won't show you the whole thing, just the end. What can I say, the guy gets absolutely melted by fire damage. Plus he is an optional boss, so killing him isn't really that important. I'm taking a chance, I don't want to die, it'd be embarrassing. Bye Cleric Beast. Always iconic. After killing everyone's favourite big screechy boy, I went back into Aldianum, and at this point you're probably all expecting me to kill the guy up here because he would drop something incredibly useful to me, but I didn't, and I'll explain why later. And I cleared out this big building full of the smaller screechy boys because now that I actually have a functional torch that does decent damage, especially to beasts, I don't have to run past everything anymore. So I can farm a few blood echoes here and there, get my character stronger, because I need it. I told them. Here's an update on my stats, hashtag Sigma grindset. And I don't know why I did this, but I fought the blood-starved beast. Like I thought, it's a beast, it's weak to fire, I've got some pungent blood cocktails I can distract it with, it'll probably be really easy, right? And yeah, it was pretty easy, until you run out of cocktails and it tries to rip you in half. Yeah, fuck that. But it's fine, you can just use Molotovs to keep it at bay. Until you run out of Molotovs.
Oh! Here we go! Hey!
Okay, moving right along, time to fight an actual boss I have to fight. And yeah, I've ran all the way around Erden Chapel, collected all the stuff I need to get. I know in like other challenge run videos I've seen, they show like every time they pick up like a bloodstone shard or whatever. But I don't think I need to do that because the game's been out for a long time now, so basically everyone knows where everything is. But I will update you anytime I pick up something that's like substantial to the run. But as we all know, the main focus and main attraction in a challenge run is the boss fights. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, everyone's favourite big foxy lady, Vicar Amelia. I mean, she's kind of like a fox, right? Like a big lanky white fox with antlers. But anyway, my first attempt went like this.
Oh, am I dead? Holy shit, that did so much damage.
Ah, but my second attempt, I died again.
Oh my god.
Yeah, basically when she starts healing, I can't interrupt her, and I can't out damage her healing, so I was stuck in this like never ending loop until I ran out of healing myself. And so, using my giant galaxy-sized super wrinkly brain, I concocted a genius idea of equipping some numbing mists, which will stop her healing. And so of course she doesn't heal this time. So much for my genius plan, but hey, her not healing just makes my life easier, so I can't complain. Okay, so as I let this attempt play out, now will be a great time to discuss why this torch is actually really bad. Okay, so there's three things I want to highlight that makes the torch way worse than regular trick weapons, other than the poor damage which I've touched on already. The first one being is that the torch doesn't benefit at all from the rallying mechanic, meaning that when I hit something I don't get my recently lost health back, which is kind of a big deal to me because my playstyle has always been like hyper aggressive, balls to the wall, crackhead looking for his next fix type energy. Was it optimal? No. Did I make it work thanks to the rally mechanic? Yes. But now because the torch doesn't do that, I have to actually take fights tactically and strategically, which is kind of a new experience to me. The next thing being that obviously no firearms means no parrying for me, which was like a get out of jail free card for me. Certain boss fights are definitely way easier if you just parry them over and over again, like Gurman for example. Stay tuned to see me fight him with a torch, by the way, that was fun. And I'm also 99% sure I can't get visceral attacks with the torch. At least I didn't get any of this playthrough. And then there's the moveset, or the lack thereof. You just thrust of it forever. And it's not like a rapier in Dark Souls or Elden Ring where it's got decent reach. The reach is terrible. I mean, you're like a guy who's only ever been to like 2 boxing classes and the only thing he learned was how to jab. So then he gets into a real fight and then he just spams that over and over again because that's all he knows. And so that's what I've got to work with this playthrough. But hey, at least it lights up the area a little bit, that's cool I guess. So as you can see, this fight against Vicar Amelia is going relatively well. You know, all we have to do is just get behind her. I mean, I know that is the recipe for basically every Soulsborne boss, but it's very true for her. There's a lot of tricky bosses in this game, but for some reason, one of the ones that gives me the most pre-fight anxiety is Amelia for some reason. Like, if you know what to do, just get behind her and all that stuff. She's relatively easy, but for some reason I've always just had some problems with her. It's just like a mental block or something. Maybe it's because I find her like to be one of the creepiest bosses. Just her lankiness and her build and the way she moves. It doesn't sit right with me. It weirds me out. Stop it. But anyways, I'll shut up now and let you enjoy the music while you watch the end of this fight.
Oh, let's not get clumsy. Let's not throw this away. Oh, can you just stay still for a second? Just let me kill you. Do the right thing and let me kill you. Oh my god. Surely not. Hey, I didn't even need a numbing mist.
After killing her, I can touch her skull and learn a password somehow. Don't know how that works, but it does, so, you know, don't question it. But this now means I can go into the Forbidden Woods. However, before I go do that, I take a little time to do some witch hunting. And as we all know, the Witches of Hemlock are incredibly easy, one of the easiest bosses in the entire series. Even if you've got a torch, it's still easy. You could have a plastic spoon and they'll still be easy. But for those that don't know, the way to beat this super high intensity white knuckle thrill ride of a boss fight, basically these ugly pair of twins go invisible and teleport around the boss arena. You have to run after them, hitting them a couple times and they'll teleport again. They don't do any damage to you the entire time. You just have to be careful of the things they summon, which looks like the goth version of Wilt from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. But they move so slow that it seems like they don't even want to fight me, so it's super easy, and so I'll just cut to the end.
Oh, this is it! Wow, what a fight! First try, oh my god.
Okay, all sarcasm aside, the reason why I came here is for the rune tool. And because another thing I haven't mentioned yet is that the torch doesn't have any slots to upgrade it with blood gems. So upgrading my character with the runes is more important this time because I need to get stronger somehow. Unfortunately right now I haven't really got any good ones yet, but you know, it's better than nothing. Before I leave, I upgrade my Hunter's Torch to level 5. As you can see, the damage is still bad. Also, stat check. Okay, now it's time to use the password I learned, but before I use it, I want to try something else first.
Merlot. Oh no, I guess it's for the odd blood. Never mind. How does he die immediately? And why is he like a skeleton? I don't understand. I've never understood that. Was he dead when he said that, or was he alive and then died and then immediately decayed to like that state? Who knows?
For real though, can someone explain what that was about? Please and thank you. But anyway, here we are in the Forbidden Woods, one of the worst places in the game. It's so big, it's full of annoying enemies. But thankfully I've played this game so many times now, I can just zoom through it in about 10 minutes. But thanks to the power of editing, I can get through to the other side right now. Alrighty then, moving right along. As you know, I've got the fight with the Shadows of Yharnam next, and I know what you're thinking, oh, it's the first boss that's not a beast, so they're not weak to fire, and there's 3 of them, isn't this going to be really hard for you? Oh, and to that I say, gather round children, let me show you how to beat these very easily every single time without fail.
Oh my god, that absolutely destroyed me.
Okay, you're right, they are really hard, but don't worry, I have a plan. It's time to go back to school. Okay, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Now don't tell anyone I told you this, but after you kill Vicar Amelia, if you go south from the Grand Cathedral where you fought her, instead of going north to the Hemwick Chapel where the witches are, and you run past with the big goons trying to kill you, and then you come across this big round empty room. And now I know what you're saying, why is this round empty room so important? Am I being clickbaited? But that's when you walk into the middle and my big invisible friend Chuck here picks you up. But don't worry, he won't hurt you. Just tell him that I sent you and give him an offering. He really likes food. Chicken Kievs are his favourite. Don't ask me why, don't tell him I said this, but they're disgusting. Once he accepts your offering and eats his food, he'll transport you to the magical world of Hogwarts, witchcraft and wizardry. Ooh. But in all seriousness, this is the lecture hall and this is an amazing place to grind. Specifically for this big old room full of these weird like ghosty ectoplasm student people. They give a good amount of blood echoes, and the good news is they die in one hit from the torch. That's like unheard of. So in this run, this room became like a place where I just burnt off some steam. Like if I'm hitting some boss with a torch and it does no damage and I feel powerless, I like to come here and just kill things in one hit, just feeling good about myself, and I get a bunch of blood echoes for it, so it's like a win-win. Also, the lecture building leads to the Nightmare Frontier. This is a completely optional area, but it does have some pretty cool stuff that I can upgrade my torch with. And some of the things I found were some pretty cool blood gems, which led to me getting what I thought was a genius idea. My line of thinking was that since the Hunter's Torch doesn't have any slots for any blood gem upgrades, why don't I just get a weapon, have it in my offhand, never use it, only use the torch still, but then those blood gems could like buff my character. So I bought the threaded cane, upgraded it all the way to level 6 and put on some like plus 8% or 8.7% arcane damage, and I was like, oh, it's gonna be so good, my torch is gonna hit harder now. But little did I know, and I should have known, that those blood gems only affect the weapon they're in and not your whole build. Needless to say, I was very disappointed.
That's a big old waste of time.
So I relieved some stress at the lecture building and then decided I was ready for the big rematch against the Shadows of Yharnam. Okay, so you know how I said earlier that the recipe to beat most bosses in this game was just stick behind them and keep hitting them? Doesn't work on these boys, unfortunately. I think in general a good rule of thumb can be broken down with this flowchart for the bosses. If they're big, stick behind them. If they're not, keep on running. I mean, obviously that rule doesn't apply to every single boss ever, but you know, you're smart enough to know that. I mean, if you're going to take serious advice from someone that tried to upgrade his torch by upgrading a threaded cane, then that's on you, not me. But anyways, back to the fight. As I've said before, these guys are the first bosses that don't have a weakness to fire. They actually have a pretty good resistance to fire. Even though we all saw Aragorn one-shot all the Nazgul and Lord of the Rings of a torch, I mean, these guys are clearly the same thing, so what the hell, FromSoftware? But I guess Aragorn is just a higher level than me, I can accept that. But anyways, as you can see, what I'm doing here is heeding the laws of the flowchart and keeping moving. Try not to get stuck in a corner, try not to get ganged up on, always trying to keep them all on the same screen, so I'm not sandwiched between them. Also, I was trying my best to hit the same one every time, like try and focus it down to make the fight shorter and not just whittle them all down slowly. Okay, I'm going to speed this up a little bit here because it does take a while to damage these boys. I'm focusing on the ranged guy because he is by far the most annoying. Just in case you thought fighting 3 enemies at once wasn't bad enough, once you get one of them low enough, they all burst into snake-headed things with new movesets. Yay! It's like the world's worst gender reveal party.
Uh-oh.
Congratulations, you've got 3 beautiful snake-headed abominations. At least they've got good taste in robes though. Something you do have to commend though is that when one of them gets low, they all transform together in solidarity. You gotta respect that. Those are 3 good friends right there. What I did here is what any other Apex Predator would do. I waited for the weak link to be separated from the herd, and I pounced on it.
Okay, there's one down.
And then there were 2. Sadly, these 2 are harder to hit, they don't leave as big of an opening as the other guy did. Now that they've transformed, they both have more range and more damage, which is thanks to their super stretchy snake arm gum pistol bullshit they've got going on here. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead here because this whole fight took over 8 minutes in total. And don't worry, I will upload the whole video of me doing the fight with no voiceover, just so no one can say that I cheated during the cut and pulled out an actual weapon. And I'll do the same thing to any other boss fight that takes a really long time. I will hashtag release the Big Chapo cut. And I know what some of you might say, well, isn't that just a convenient way for you to maximise the views? And to that I say, how dare you speak to me unless spoken to? Don't you know who I am? I'm Big Chapo. I have like 7 subscribers. I am joking obviously, I do not take myself seriously at all. But anyway, now that there's only one left, he unlocks another secret special move.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. I've literally never seen that before. Is this because I'm taking too long? Or is that because I've never left this one alive before? Not a fan of that though.
But yeah, as past me said, I've never actually seen that move before, which is weird considering how many times I've beaten this game. Maybe it's because I kill them all too quickly to notice it, but I don't know, whatever. It's a cool move though.
Oh, I got him. Fuck your snakes. That took forever. Whew, okay.
Thank the Lord that's over with, and I'll have you know I did that on my 2nd try. Also, by the way, here's my stats, and check out on the top right, those are the runes I'm using. But my adventure continues, and this time my travels have taken me to Byrgenwerth. I have a sort of love-hate relationship with Byrgenwerth. I mean, it's got like amazing lore, it looks cool, but the enemies here are just unbelievably annoying. I mean, in this one tiny area you have the head jump fly boys, a brain sucker man, whatever the hell this abomination is, and the hardest enemy in the entire game, this crazy bitch here. But as I've said, it's very small, so the good thing about that is you can just run past everything and find these double doors. There's a key on the counter somewhere, I can't remember exactly where, but that's all you need to do. And then once you're out here, be sure to tip your triangular shaped hat to old man Willem here. I was going to talk to him and like have a scene, but then this crazy bloodthirsty nightmare of a woman came chasing after me. So I had to run away and jump down and ooh, it's boss time! It's everybody's favourite giant multi-legged potato, it's Rom. Oh yeah, as you might have noticed, I've changed into my school uniform from Hogwarts since Rom here does nothing but arcane damage. And you might be wondering, how do I fight a giant potato spider hybrid? Can I boil it or mash it, or can I just put it in a giant glass and take it outside? That is quite a good question because Rom can be a pretty tricky customer. The flowchart would dictate that you stay behind her, and that is quite true, but you have to be careful of her rabid, crazy little babies who do 1,000,000 damage.
Oh my god.
The usual smart tactic here would be to slowly and methodically kill all her babies before they can like overwhelm you. I didn't have time for that, I had places to go, people to see. Okay, that's not true, but still, I didn't want to do it, I was too lazy. And now is around about the time that Rom starts launching her spells out. And if you get caught by one, they do quite a lot of damage, so Rom is quite unique for the fact that when you're behind her hitting her, that's the best place to be, but you also have to keep moving because of her babies and her spells. I'm going to speed this along a little bit here again. I mean, who'd have thought that when you're using a subpar weapon with low damage, boss fights would take way longer than usual. I mean, at least it's better than the basic torch. I'd still be in the Vicar Amelia boss fight if I was using the regular torch. Here you can see just how much damage her spells do if you get a little bit complacent and get caught by them. Also, the sheer amount of babies that this bitch has produced is insane. In fact, I want to see a remake of Cheaper by the Dozen starring Rom and all of her million little kids.
Oh my god, there's so many.
So if anybody wants to make that happen, I don't know, Disney Plus or someone, they'll make anything nowadays. I'll happily be the producer. I'll get paid, I don't know, 1,000,000 a year. Sounds good to me. So when you know what to do in this fight, it becomes a little bit rudimentary. You just keep weaving in and out, hitting her when you can, avoiding all the little spider babies, avoiding her when she rolls around, throwing a little tantrum, which does quite a lot of damage. Also, it's the fact that I'm just that good that I can make it look easy. So honestly, I'm available for coaching, I could do seminars, I'm thinking of releasing a book, I think there's going to be a documentary made about me. It's all exciting times and you're all very welcome.
Wow, okay.
Ah shit, okay, you got me guys. I'm not actually good at the game. The fact I've got this far is just pure dumb luck. I mean, I've never even played this game before. I only ever play real man's games like Nintendogs. Psych, I'm just joking, this game's easy. I'm the best there ever was. Second try, baby, woo!
Oh my god. Are you serious?
Okay, forget this. You want to be like that? Fine, I'm gonna kill all you little mother... Okay then, now that I've dealt with my anger like a well-adjusted human being, it's time to finally beat Rom. Again, I will upload the fight in full just so you don't think I'm cheating or anything like that. As you can see, I used some Molotovs as well this time just to get a little bit of range in there. It's still pretty dangerous to stand still for that long, but whatever, it worked. And that's how you beat Rom with a torch.
Hey, eat my Molotov, bitch.
After the fight, there's a lore moment. We have to talk to this crying lady who's sad because she spilled ketchup on her nice dress there. Then I get reunited with my old friend Chuck. Hey Chucky, how's the kids? And this all leads me to my least favourite place in the entire game, Yahar'gul, the Unseen Village. There's only one thing about this place that I really like, but I'll explain that later. For now, let's just get through here as quick as I possibly can. I make sure to drop down here and steal this man's keys off his freshly dead corpse. I'll need those bad boys to get into the upper cathedral ward later on. Now you might be wondering why I hate this place so much. Well, firstly, I don't like the fact that this place is absolutely packed with annoying enemies that will chase you for what seems like forever. And if you kill them, they'll just respawn because of the bell ringing summoner lady people, whatever they are. And the amygdala shooting the big laser annoys me too, my boy Chuck would never. But at least there's some bloodstone chunks here, so I get to upgrade my torch to +7. Oh, by the way, please tell me I'm not the only one that didn't know this. As it turns out, if you go into this lift and then halfway up there's the gap you can jump through. If you go through there, and you can either fight or ignore the enemies here, doesn't really matter, do what you want. But there's a little room here with the little teleporter thing. I had no idea this was there, and it teleports you to basically the end of the level. Like, I was ready to rant and everything about the second half of this level being arguably worse than the first half because of the shitload of enemies and they've got ranged attacks as well, and it's just a nightmare. You just have to sprint to the boss arena. But me being the game-changing pioneer that I am, I have now changed that, so you're welcome everybody. For real though, I feel like an idiot for not knowing that was a thing for like the 10 times I've beat this game. And since this shortcut leads to right outside the boss arena, it's time for a new boss fight. This time it's the one reborn, and honestly I really don't like this boss that much. I mean, I don't hate it, I just feel like it's really lackluster. Like, I understand if it's the theme of the level with all the summoners and stuff, but the fight itself is just really boring and really forgetful. Like, its design's pretty interesting, but that's about it really. But anyway, this fight is relatively simple. As everybody knows who's beat this boss before, the first thing you should do is take care of his little cheerleading squad. Now that his friends are dead and he's by himself, he becomes less confident, more self-conscious, starts doubting himself more, and becomes an altogether easier target. That's not true, but I like to think that it is. That's my headcanon. But realistically, as you know, the best place to be when you're fighting a big enemy is at the back. It's kind of tough to hit him from the sides because he's got so many flailing legs that will just automatically hit you. And at the front he's got his two big arms that can hit you for quite a lot of damage. But honestly, this boss is kind of easy. Like, he's just a big bag of health points really. Which is why, as you've probably noticed, I'm hitting him at the front even though I said to be at the back. Because it does really matter, honestly. When you do enough damage, he like collapses, has to take a rest, I don't know, he starts crying or something. And if you're using an actual weapon, not a torch, you can get a visceral attack on him. There's only a couple things to worry about with him, like sometimes he'll periodically throw up on you, I guess because he's so anxious. Have you ever seen that Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode where Bart tries to turn a frog into a prince and it ends up like this abomination that throws up everywhere? That's what this boss reminds me of. Like, I feel like killing it is doing it a favour. There's only a couple attacks that it does that you really have to look out for. The first one being this big AoE attack it does, but before it does it, it starts glowing red. So to avoid this attack, always remember, once it starts glowing, you better get going. The other attack is where he recreates his favourite scene from Team America and makes a massive pool of puke on the floor. But all you'd have to do is just run up the stairs so your nice fancy boots don't get dirty, and then you're fine. Luckily for me, he didn't use this attack this run, which was nice of him. And so all you have to do is follow those tips and tricks and don't get complacent, and this big ball of limbs will be armless. Okay, I deserved that. That was a terrible joke. Well, that was embarrassing considering how much I said this boss was easy. Unfortunately for him though, he's not the only one that can be reborn. And I'm going to make sure that I won't die again the second time around. So I upgrade my torch to +8, but that isn't enough. I go back through Yahar'gul and find all the bloodstone chunks I missed by taking that shortcut. And when I get the 8 that I need, I head back and get my torch from +8 to +9. Here's my stats before I go destroy that thing. And as you can see in our rematch, he basically just submits to me. He just lays down and lets me kill him. I'd like to think that in this fight he heard my boss music, I didn't hear his. But for real, this is one of the reasons why I think this boss is easy. Because you can just break his limbs and then he just collapses and then he's just yours to do what you want with. Like, you could draw on his face, take embarrassing pictures of him, post them online, or you could just kill him, you know, whatever floats your boat. And after all of this, I still almost get killed by his big AoE attack. Because I forgot the rule, if he starts glowing, you better get going. I played this last part super cautiously because the last thing I wanted was to get killed by him again. But then I saw my opening and I made sure that this ball of limbs didn't have a leg to stand on. You can't stop my bad jokes this time. Okay, now, remember when I said there's only one part of this whole area that I really like? This is it. In fact, this might be one of my favourite places in the entire game. Just walking into this room and being greeted by dozens of corpses rotting away in their chairs, the remains of those who performed the menses ritual and died as a result. This one room perfectly representing the lengths humans will go to ascend to something greater, and the hubris to think that they deserve it. Man, I love this game. Making contact with mummified Mikolash takes me back to the lecture building, but this time it's the second floor. There's nothing like crazy special here, but it does give you access to be able to talk to Patches, who ends up giving you a really good rune. And then you can kill him if you want afterwards. I always do. You don't get much for it, but it just feels good. The real reason you get sent back to the lecture building though is because this acts as a bridge between the waking world and the nightmare. All you have to do is open these doors and jump into the rabbit hole. Ah, the Nightmare of Mensis, one of the most oppressive places in the entire game. Just like if you're performing surgery on a tiger, the best way to survive here is to use a lot of sedatives. And this is because of the brain of Mensis, the big overseeing orange glow that if it looks at you long enough, you explode. But luckily a sedative will stop the build up of the madness and you can go about your day. I know some people say this is their least favourite part of the game, and I do understand that, but for me it's simple enough to just run past everything. And because of all the different lifts, there's plenty of shortcuts around, so it's not that hard to traverse the area. After some more running, it's time for the next boss. And since we went down the rabbit hole and ended up in Wonderland, it's only fitting that we face the Mad Hatter.
We should not abandon the dream. No one can stop us now.
Just imagine how bad he smells right now. Here we go.
Okay then, anyone that's ever played this game knows that fighting Mikolash isn't exactly the highlight of the game. The first time round he's a sort of interesting puzzle boss, but the second time round the novelty has very much worn off and then he's just annoying. And that is a shame because he is an interesting character, but oh well, you can't win them all. And when he finally stops running and it's time to properly fight him, that's boring as well. He has literally one move at this point, and that's the big old tentacle tickler, and it's always incredibly telegraphed, so it's easy to dodge, so it's like no worries whatsoever. And yeah, he's got his minion marionette things that are annoying, but I've never been a fan of bosses that need minions. Just make the boss better so that they don't need the minions, do you know what I mean? Okay, I'm gonna skip ahead here because this is so boring to watch. We both have one move and they both suck. I mean, we've got an incredibly stoppable force versus very easily movable object vibe going on here. But when you finally get him down to half health, he pretends to die, and then he starts talking mad shit.
Majestic!
And then you have to chase him again. I'm having a fun time. Eventually you'll get him stuck in a small room again, and then it's time to continue part 2 of your epic showdown. Believe it or not, this part always gives me anxiety because now he has an extra move, a much stronger move. However, he clearly prefers using his tentacle tickle move. I mean, let's be honest, the guy clearly has a fetish. And that's cool, you know. He may be a madman, but it doesn't make it cool to kink shame a guy. And if you're wondering what this big bad move I'm so afraid of is, then watch closely. Whew, did you see it? Instant kill shot right there if you get hit by that. In the Bloodborne community, that's known as the Mensis Chop, a notorious move known to kill anyone it touches. Oh, I'm just getting goosebumps just talking about it. Okay, that's a joke, but I wish it was true. Here's the real move I'm afraid of. And that might not look too bad because it did do too much damage, but if every single projectile hits you, then you're basically guaranteed dead. Luckily he didn't use it too many times, and luckily the torch can sort of interrupt it, but basically every single playthrough I die at least once to this stupid move. But not this time, baby. Torch best weapon confirmed. Also, call me Freddy Krueger because I just killed a man in his dream.
Huh, that actually went surprisingly really well.
Okay, here's a quick post-boss fight stat update. And now that Mikolash is dead, it is time to upgrade my torch to its maximum potential. If you progress forwards from the Mikolash boss fight place, there's this little birdcage lift that you can go down. What you have to do here is jump out halfway through, and this jump is way harder than it has any right of being.
Hey, thank fucking Christ.
As you can tell by how relieved I am when I finally made it. And this part of the level is when the game goes full on survival horror mode. There's these enemies that are small versions of the brain of Mensis, meaning when they see you and look at you for a long enough time, you'll blow up. So it becomes like this tense game of cat and mouse and trying to sneak past without getting noticed. Or you could just go full send and sprint through whatever floats your boat.
Leave me alone.
And the reason why you run this ghastly gauntlet is to get to this lever here. And pulling it will make the brain of Mensis come crashing back down to earth. It's basically a big brain move by making this big brain move. And the reason for doing all of this, other than the obvious fact that now the brain is dropped it can't harass you from across the map, but now you can swoop in and pick up the legendary Blood Rock. Also importantly, if you get this fancy looking pose from the upper cathedral ward, and then you take this lift down to where the brain landed and then do the pose in front of him, it will be so impressed that it will give you this really good rune. By the way, this thing has got to be the creepiest thing in the whole game to me. I mean, just his giant eyes, but you don't know what it's thinking, it's just staring at you. It creeps me the fuck out. Which is why I tried to kill it, even though it took me genuinely about 15 minutes. But sometimes it's about sending a message. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for, upgrading my torch to its final form. Getting the torch to plus 10 makes it a completely different beast. It's an instrument of sheer destruction, a weapon fit for the gods themselves. Oh no wait, it's still shit, never mind. Alright, let me explain what's going on here. Remember a while ago when I was in Old Yarnum and I said I didn't kill this guy for a reason? Yeah, it's because I forgot that he dropped something really important. You see, killing Dura here lets you get the Powder Keg Hunter badge. And this badge allows me to buy oil urns from the shop. And oil urns basically reduce the fire resistance of anything that gets hit by one. So if someone that's been oiled gets hit by some fire damage, that damage will be doubled. And it would have been really nice to have had access to that ages ago when I first came here. However, even though here I am level 70 near the end of the game, this guy was giving me problems. So killing him earlier would have been damn near impossible.
There we go, okay.
Now that's settled, it's finally time for the penultimate boss of the game. That's right, even though I could just end the game after this boss, because I am built different, I'm gonna fight German after this too. But I'll have to cross that bridge when I come to it, because now it's time to fight Murgo's wet nurse, aka the Nazgul Queen. I mean seriously, look how intimidating this fucking thing is. But have no fear. Now that I've got my urns, I've got Molotovs, I've got a +10 torch, I'm the scary one here. I'm not locked in here with it, it's locked in here with me. I can do this. Yeah, get poisoned, bitch. Haha, I'm behind you, you idiot. I read the flowchart. Oh, good job, you made it dark. Really spooky. If only I had like some sort of source of light. Oil urn, I choose you. Oh, haha, nice try. I am inevitable. Come on, stop trying to hit me and just hit me. Ooh, you've brought a friend, that's fine. I'm always down for a threesome. You can't hit me. Oh, see? Look, too slow. Try again. Watch what happens. And you missed. I'm just starting to feel bad for him at this point. No, I could just do this all day, this is easy. Well really? We're running away now? Are you seeing this, German? Are you ready for this? Oh, I'm coming for you, old man. You're next. Yeah, that's right. Who's in charge, me or the devil? I think I'm in charge.
Oh my god. When will I learn to stop greeding, for fuck's sake?
Yeah, I think you all knew that that was about to happen. Basically, anytime I get cocky, I get immediately humbled afterwards. Especially when a boss gets low health, I just can't help myself. But anyway, I'm going to cut to when I successfully do kill Murgo's wet nurse. You've seen quite a lot of the fight already, but if you do want to see the fight in full, don't worry, I will upload the video after this one. And that's the end of Murgo's wet nurse, aka the bitch king of Angmar. Now you just have to wait for Murgo the baby to finally shut the hell up, and then you can move on with your life.
Come on. Come on. There we go.
Now to return to the Hunter's Dream for the grand finale.
Can't put my finger on it, but something feels different. Oh, it's on fire.
Oh, you just know German's gonna blame me for this just because I carry a torch everywhere. That's discrimination. Man, I'm not gonna get my deposit back. So I had to find old landlord German and break the news to him.
Yay.
So I go into the garden, home to catch him in a good mood. And he wants to fight me. But at least before he makes my life a living nightmare, he drops one of the coldest lines in video game history.
Tonight, Gammon joins the hunt.
Man, I get chills every time. But now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event of the evening. Introducing first, a young man of average height and short reach, though it must be said that his reach is longer with Molotovs and oil urns, but nonetheless his reach is terrible. His weapons are a torch for some reason, and the aforementioned Molotovs and oil urns. Everybody, Johnny Torchman! And now for our next combatant, an old man, for some reason very tall with a very long reach and a big old scythe. He also has a gun and magic for that one attack he does. Ladies and gentlemen, the reigning Bloodborne Fighting Championship champion, German! This fight is brought to you by ESFKA's Blood Vials. If you need blood vials, go with ESFKA.
Oh shit.
Okay, now that I've built up all the hype and excitement for the fight, it's time to bring you back down to earth by saying this was way too hard and I wasn't ready for it. German ends up killing me.
Forgot about that.
So many times.
What the fuck? Did that hit me? Did that honestly hit me?
I was just simply outgunned.
Wow, I had him on the ropes there. I had him worried.
Outclassed.
Oh.
Outdamaged. And just straight up outmatched.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's fun.
But that's okay, because in the darkest moments is when this torch burns brightest. I knew I could do this. I just needed some counselling and some advice, and that means meeting an old friend.
I know that's what I'm supposed to do. He's the first hunter, man. He's really old, but he's like really quick, and he's got like a really strong weapon. But I always appreciate I can always come and talk to you when I need it.
And also I did a bunch of grinding by killing these big pigs over and over again. And so here are my final stats before the very end. Okay, now it's time to build up that hype again, because here we go, this is it. Okay, so German basically has 3 stages, and the first one is when he just uses the scythe. And it's relatively easy, all things considered. If you just get inside his range and jab him a few times with the torch, it sort of stun locks him. And his attacks are relatively easy to dodge, apart from the ones that for some reason track you, which I think is bullshit considering all the other stuff he's got going for him.
Ooh, you're tracking. Look at the big man with his scythe.
But when you get him to roughly 75% health, that's when phase 2 kicks in, where he puts his scythe in one hand mode, whatever you call it, and then pulls out a gun as well.
Just roll into me. There we go. There we go. Thank you.
Okay, so he does this one move in his phase where he does these like safety rolls towards you aggressively, and I get it, I respect it, he's trying to assert his dominance, but it is very easy to counter.
Back into a corner now, boy.
And that yell from German there wasn't a yell of frustration for being just purely outclassed and stun locked in the corner. No, that was the beginning of his third and final phase. And this is where things get really hard for me. His final form is basically him switching between his first two phases, but his moveset is way crazier now. In particular, this move can go fuck itself.
Oh. I don't know how to dodge that.
I have dodged that a few times, but most of the time I just panic as soon as I realise it's happening, and then it's too late. Having said that though, I was trying my very best to be composed and pick my shots and not just, you know, rush in blindly hoping to just out damage him for some reason. And when it's safe, I'll throw an oil urn into a Molotov combo. The damage isn't amazing, but it's free damage basically, especially when he's walking forward slowly in his creeper mode like this. And I don't know why he does it, but you know, let's not forget he is an old man, and all this rushing around is probably havoc on his joints.
Stop dodging! Oh, fuck you then, old man.
And this is the moment you're always anxiously waiting for during his final phase, when he does his big green blast attack. A huge prompt to getting a bunch of free damage before he blows up and destroys you. But after that was done, that's when the nerves really kicks in. Because the big window of free damage is gone, you're running low on oil urns and molotovs, and he's got a glowing green aura like he's fucking Broly or something. I really like this moment here. I finally dodged that goddamn attack, and when he landed, even he was a little bit dumbfounded that just happened. I think even in the heat of the moment he's like, oh shit, good job man, you did it. Or you could say that was a moment he knew he fucked up, because I just dodged his best move and now he's got nothing for me. Which to me is now the truth, and you cannot convince me otherwise. And now I'm just facing a broken man, his confidence, his will, shattered before him. He tries to put on a brave face and keep attacking, but it's all in vain, and he's just delaying the inevitable. Smelling the fear of my victim, I go in for the final strike. Myself, composed, calm, brimming with confidence.
I can't hit the guy anymore. Oh my god, finally. Oh my god.
I did it. I beat German with just a torch. And hey, it wasn't even that bad, it only took me about 6 or 7 tries. Oh, fuck off. Well, either way, I still did it, okay? And so this big gangly fella comes down and gives me German's old job. I'm now the landlord of the hunter's dream. At least I think that's what the game's about. I'm pretty sure I'm right. But regardless, my job is done. I beat the game with just a torch. Now I can just sit back, relax, hang up my torch and just spend the rest of my days relaxing. Ah, feels good. Oh shit, I didn't put the torch out. Fuck! Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you made it to the end. Well, if you haven't, you wouldn't be hearing this. But this took a very long time to make because I've never made a video like this before. I'm still very new to the whole video making process and I'm like self-taught, but it's really fun and I think this is the best video I've ever made objectively. I mean, it's not hard, my other ones are terrible. But I definitely want to do more videos like this. So let me know in the comments what else you'd like to see, maybe an Elden Ring challenge run or Dark Souls maybe, or even Pokemon, who knows. But anyway, as I've said earlier, I will upload the full boss fights or ones that I've edited. But that's it. Thanks for watching.